right. Oh, they got like real loud when I said so. Sweet. So tonight, I'm going to change something quick. Turn this volume down a tad. Tonight we are playing some Crypt of the NecroDancer because it is a rogue game, and as we played rogue on the last stream, wanted to play something a little similar. As me and Michael Like are starting to explore more games in the genre of roguelikes, the fun differences. This game's a little different. It's a lot of fun. Crypt of the NecroDancer. Pull up some info on it real quick, and I can kind of talk about it real quick. Michael will be joining at some point. Excuse me. So yeah, Crypt of the NecroDancer. It's a rhythm game, which is awesome. I love rhythm games. They're super fun for me. And this one technically classifies as a roguelike. Came out in, was it 2016? Yeah, it was released in 2015 for Linux OS X, and it was co-produced by Clay Entertainment, developed by Brace Yourself Games. I will. This is weird. I'm used to just doing it like this. Okay. I will go back and replay the intro real quick, so folks will actually be able to see the kind of story behind it. It's going to go blank for a minute, and then it'll launch. And it should pull back up.
They told me I was too young.
There we go.
They told me I needed more training. Huh? I told them to drop dead. How ironic. I don't know how I survived that fall. Something strange must have happened. My pulse is beating like a drum, but my blood is running cold. I'm not sure what's going on, but I came here with a question, and I'm gonna find the answer if it kills me.
Yeah, so that's the fun intro for this game. It's pretty fun. Okay, anyway, so you play this game using the arrow keys, and it still has that kind of same rogue feeling in that everything's procedurally generated, and you have one life. If you die, you start over. Granted, now in this game, I have you can unlock modes and like zones to like get into other stuff. I don't remember Dungeon Master, Merlin, Boss Master. Oh yeah, there are bosses in this game too. So, as with more modern era rogue games, that is typical thing. Oh, and this game also has a character select. I don't think I unlocked everybody. It's been a while since I've tried to play this game, so I might be terrible. But I guess the big caveat of what makes this one a little different from like your standards of like rogue is that this game is a rhythm game, as I mentioned. When you go into levels, there will be a metronome at the bottom of the screen, and I have to move to the beat. Enemies attack on the beat, they move on the beat. It's kind of good. Also, the soundtrack is fire. I've been a fan of the soundtrack. I'll listen to it occasionally. So yeah, let's do a level. Okay, so yeah, the bottom screen, you'll see it. So, as I had to move to the rhythm of music. Hopefully, it's a Ring of Charisma. Yeah, when the floor lights up, it means I've got like a multiplier. Shot master. Hey, what's up, man? Hang on. I want to have to turn down the music in my ears a little bit.
Are we live?
We are.
Very cool.
I was just talking. I've got it streamed in here too, so you can watch as I play. But I was basically like talking about how this game has a lot of similarities to Rogue, and you still have one life. Everything's procedurally generated. Difficulty is definitely a thing, but in this game, it's a rhythm game, you have to do everything on the beat. That's part of why I wanted to pick this game tonight. It's like the first one of the roguelikes that we played, or that I played, or we at least streamed, because of the nature of this one reminds me so much of after playing Rogue.
Yeah, I can see that kind of like the dungeon layout obviously is reminiscent of Rogue.
Yeah, and what's interesting, like thinking about it, like compared to I guess that's where we start drawing the differences in roguelikes and roguelites. This. Oh, we got a shadow. Oops, a zombie. Yeah, everything in this game, and that was another thing I started thinking about too, was enemies, how the enemies move in Rogue, where they would move based on how your movement was as well. Oh, that's a dragon. It's been a while since I played this game. I used to play this game on my laptop a lot.
I've never actually played this one.
It's a lot of fun. Apparently they put out some DLC that makes this game co-op. And kind of like in Rogue, you go down deeper into levels. So there's the bomb. I was like, you never had the bomb. Oh,
yeah, I mean,
fun little caveat about this game. If you notice the bottom of the screen, it's getting red on my meters. When you run out of the song ends, it automatically moves me to the next level.
Gotcha.
What's the whip? I like it. Different weapons do different things too. Enemies attack on the beat, and of course, so I guess this kind of makes me think about one thing that Rogue doesn't have that I guess this would start becoming more of a popular thing is bosses. Oh, there's a Minotaur. Also, the soundtrack for this game slaps.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So yeah.
It definitely, I mean, having never played this game and looking at it now, it seems clearly that this is channeling Rogue.
Oh yeah.
And it actually has a shop.
Yep.
So there is a use for gold.
There is a use for gold. Yeah, there's hidden things in the walls. If you have enough time, you can And it's kind of what I was talking about when I first started the stream was something that's kind of interesting is where you have where Rogue kind of differs from where Rogue kind of builds this template of this is how the game will play. The roguelike and the roguelite genres started kind of iterating on it in fun ways. Should have done the hidden around here. That's where this game does levels, but in where Rogue was, where Rogue does one level at a time, game. Newer Rogue likes and roguelikes games decided they wanted to allow you to like skip ahead, so you could like start doing more levels, because like the whole idea of like progression became more of a thing. What's the purpose of the gold, the ground arrows? Oh, they're traps. If I step on them, they make me move forward. And different enemies do different things in this game, so they all like have different patterns. Me being a sucker for rhythm games is also another reason why I want to play this.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I was always a big rhythm game fan growing up.
And this game's like super cheap too. They just did. Oh, that's a mimic. I want my spear back. Oh, that's a dragon. There we go. Got him. So this is the level before a boss, so you always have to like beat a certain enemy to unlock the door. I can't remember what the boss of the first world is. Funny enough, I have never beat this game. Oh, that's a good try. Oh, come back here. Let's see what we get. Oh, right, you pay life to get weapons. And see, in this game, like, the diamond currency is, like, currency I can use to do, like, more things outside of the run. So, like, there's, like, permanent items I'll be able to purchase.
Gotcha. So there is some permanent progression.
Yep. And the people that made this game wound up making a sort of a side game. They made a Zelda game called Cadence of Hyrule.
Interesting.
It's the same, like, same format, but it's just Zelda. Oh, yeah, this is a fun food trap. I don't want that. Oh. Those monkeys, they'll like jump on you, like you have to like. Right. So boss fight. And this is like definitely where like this difference from, you know, Rogue. Rogue doesn't have bosses. Die here. Oh, not the shield on. Yep. Thought I'd the skeletons there. And then he ripped. Alright, so we're gonna block. This way I can kinda like talk a little bit more about it. Turn this down a little bit too, because it's still a little loud in my ears. So yeah, but like let's think about like the differences between like where like roguelikes and roguelites started like doing different things. Now, especially now that me and you have like actually played Rogue.
Yeah.
You start thinking about like you know, where Rogue you just sort of dropped into the dungeon. In this game I can literally like pick where I want to start. But I had to unlock these as things went. Oh yeah. This has low co-op. Just still bizarre to me. It wasn't there when I first originally played the game. So, I'm trying to think of other things about this, where it's doing more like stuff that's like akin to Rogue. I guess like the exploring the dungeon part and the randomization.
Yeah. I know. I imagine there are some people who decry, I don't know, the concessions towards modern gaming, you know, as like disrupting or corrupting the purity of the genre somehow. Like, oh, it's not like Rogue because you can make permanent progress and you can skip to different levels. But
yeah, I think that's definitely where we start getting like you know, differences between like, you know, like I still think one of the wildest things that we experienced playing Rogue the other night was item randomization, and then like in like a pure randomized sense where we could find the same potion twice and it didn't do the same thing
on separate runs.
But in this game, you know, all the items are known.
Right. Just like Fear.
Is that what you're going to wind up playing?
I mean, I think I would have to download a mod to make it stream safe.
Yeah, there are some unsafe things in that game.
Yes, things that would probably not go well with Twitch.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look into that actually.
Have you gone back and played any more of Rogue?
I haven't, no.
Or did you like look into any more of the stuff?
I have not, but I do want to at some point.
Oh, I now have a rapier. The rapier, whenever I attack, I like do like a little dash.
That's cool.
Apparently, this game just got a recent DLC. So this game came out in 2016 or 2015, and I found out that they're still putting out DLC for this game because they just put Hatsumeiku in it.
Oh, interesting. That's fun.
Bats in this game move randomly. Kind of like the bats in Rogue.
Yeah.
At least the slimes in this game
don't multiply.
Yeah. Oh, you know, like another thing to think about, like modern conveniences versus like Rogue. I have a map in this game, but you know, I guess because Rogue fits on one screen, didn't have to really worry about that. Space, something like that. So like moving off the beat, like so at the bottom of the screen I have like my coin multiplier. And if I wind up missing a beat, I lose my coin multiplier. So like, there's ways you can get better equipment faster in this game. There's a lot of times where I just sit here and just bounce back and forth between. Oh shit. Yeah, like you learn like the patterns of all the bosses or the enemies in this game. But I guess like you think about like with Rogue, like people, I think you were even like talking about where it's like, do you imagine just people just like sitting around like learning the game? It feels kind of weird thinking about like I was thinking about like with the randomized items, how like difficult it would be to like know which item did what. Like you wouldn't be able to keep track of everything. I guess you would be able to learn the effects of the game. You just have to know like which one did which on your runs. Sure, okay, like this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you would have to either wait for Scrolls of Identify, or you would just you would go into a run with the mindset of, you know, I'm just gonna use everything that I pick up and cross my fingers that Randu will bless me.
Oh right, I forgot all about Randu.
I don't know if Randu is the governing algorithm for Rogue specifically, but I think Randu as a concept is too funny for me to not do. The Nuffle before Nuffle, you know?
Yeah. I kind of want to like I wish I had it on my my computer here. I'd play it. It would be another game to check out and play. It would be like talking about like the expansion of like how the roguelike genre like moves, and then like into like 2D and like platforming. It makes me think about like Dead Cells.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, wondering. In contention for a possible stream about rogue games. Oh, damn, I missed the beat. I'm trying to think of other, like... It makes me wonder, like, at what point did the roguelike genre become popular, or more popular now?
Yeah, I was curious about that. If there's like a modern game that, I mean, it would have. I would think that it would be like The Binding of Isaac, probably, right?
All right, bosses. A little screwed here. Nightmare is going to kill me. Okay. Whew.
I'd have to imagine that The Binding of Isaac would be.
I have that
the
game.
Yeah, it's a good game. But I think that, I mean, at least The Binding of Isaac is the game where I think probably first heard the term. Roguelike.
All right, levitation. Now I don't get affected by. I've run out of time. That's something about this game I enjoy is like you can't linger. My rapier does extra damage based on the amount of gold I got. Right, boss? Deep blues. Oh, this is the chess boss. So there's chess pieces on the board and they all move in like an actual how chess pieces move. And he's dead.
Dad was always coming and going on his adventures.
Oh, you're right. I forgot. There's like story
This
beats
time
in this
he
game
seemed
too.
more excited.
Spoilers for anybody
He
who
said he
doesn't
found
want to know the
some
plot
great
of a
treasure.
rogue game. That's another thing about rogue games I think about too.
When I was older, I found
Just
the
like
notes he
plot's
left
usually
behind.
not a thing.
Directions to a graveyard.
Uncle Eli tried to stop me. But Dad had been gone for 2 years. I had to find him.
What other rogue games are there? It's like obviously there's like all the card, like the deck-based ones, like Slay the Spire and stuff like that. I know you were saying that like Fear and Hunger has rogue elements, so I guess that makes it fall into the rogue light category instead of like
Yeah.
rogue like. Yes, I need to go to Chronologic so I can do Zone 2 now. If I was doing the all zones mode, I would go through each level. There's a golem here. all the little skeletons do like a little dance before they move. Like they jump, dance, then move. Ooh, that's a Minotaur. He'll keep running in a straight line until he hits a wall.
Hmm.
It kind of makes me think about like Souls games too, where it's like learning patterns.
Right.
But makes me think about like going up against bosses, and so like even in like Rogue, like you couldn't like learn patterns. So apparently there are 8 things a game investigates. Yes, have to be considered. Like, okay. There's a guy, like, what's really interesting, and I'm thinking about, like, something else that's, like, about, like, with, we were talking about, like, things that, I guess, like, Rogue games would do, or having played original Rogue now, where we've kind of seen, or experienced it, where this game kind of, like, makes me think about it is, like, random characters that do different effects. Like the Vampire Survivors.
Mm-hmm.
You have different characters that do different things, and that kind of alters how the game works. So, and like this is the main character, Cadence, but there's another character. There's a bard that don't have to. You can move. Whenever you want, you don't have to move on the beat.
Interesting.
So, could you imagine like playing original Rogue, where it's just like, oh, hey, here's a new character you just unlocked?
Yeah, it probably adds some more replayability to it.
Right. Random map generation, permadeath, turn-based combat, grid-based movement. Complexity to allow multiple solutions.
Like if there was like a wizard character in Rogue that spawned with like some random scrolls, some random potions.
Right. Well, like, was it like on my one run, I managed to get that like a staff that allows me to cast a spell.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, mimic. Forget the music. The music in each level is different in this game, so like it's all about like learning. Like on top of I'm having to learn, like you have to memorize the enemies, I have to remember music.
That seems cool though.
Something else I enjoy about this game, it's just like random. It's like I'm far away from the merchant now, but as you get closer to it, you can hear him singing.
Huh. Random map generation, permadeath, turn-based combat. Very interesting.
If you think about it, though, like, I guess Rogue had turn-based. Because you had to think about, like, what we were noticing, like, you could sleep or something.
Yeah. So apparently the original term came from Usenet news groups around 1993.
Roguelike or roguelike?
Roguelike. With a K. It suggested that with the rising popularity of Rogue, Hack, Moria, and Angband, all of which shared common elements, that the groups be consolidated under an umbrella term to facilitate cross-game discussion. This is from Wikipedia.
Interesting. Food or I'm gonna die. I kind of hope the next boss. There's a boss in here that's kind of hilarious. That's he's a reference to Donkey Konga.
Oh yeah, so I'm looking up this Berlin interpretation that Casey's mentioning in the chat. And it's interesting. The Berlin interpretation set out a set of high value and low value factors, basing these lists on 5 canon roguelike games: ADOM, Angband, Linley's Dungeon Crawl, NetHack, and Rogue. The interpretation was designed to determine, quote, how roguelike a game is, noting that missing a factor does not eliminate a game from being a roguelike, nor does possessing the features make a game a roguelike. John Harris of GameSetWatch exemplified this by using these criteria to numerically score some seemingly roguelike games. Linley's Dungeon Crawl and NetHack scored highest, earning 57.5 out of 60 available points based on the interpretation, while ToeJam and Earl and Diablo, games commonly compared to roguelikes, earned only about half of the points.
Interesting. I was thinking about that the other day because I watched that Noah Gervais video about Diablo, and I was like, well, Diablo has random elements, but I guess not in the way.
So I guess according to this criteria, you would be able to assign a point value to Diablo based on how similar it is to what this interpretation of a roguelike is. So,
yeah.
You could say Diablo has roguelike elements, but I would say Diablo itself is probably not a roguelike. Though, of course, genre is a slippery thing, as we have discussed many a time.
Damn. Got killed by the octopus. Yeah. That's another good point. Like thinking about like Diablo or now I'm like curious. Just like looking this up. It's slightly annoying, and it's also hilarious that roguelike and roguelite are like the two terminologies that are used or like thrown around the most.
Yeah.
I need to try and find out this like NetHack.
Spelunky is, I think, a pretty relevant modern example of a roguelike.
Yeah.
Faster than light.
Yeah, FTL. Always. I've played a lot of FTL.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so the Wikipedia mentions examples of successful games that have integrated roguelike components into other genres include Dead Cells, Slay the Spire, Crypt of the NecroDancer, Enter the Gungeon, and Vampire Survivors.
That would be a good one. That would be a funny one for me to stream, is Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah.
Just because that one takes, like this game feels like more closer to Rogue to me because of how the rhythm elements make me move.
Right.
And how Rogue was, like, we were just, like, constantly, like, spamming move keys to try and, like, get around. Alright, let's return to the lobby. Yeah, like, so, like, you know, like, here are, like, all these other characters I've been like, yeah, there's the Bard. Yeah, there's the Hatsumiku DLC.
Amazing.
This is new. Change.
So this game has Hatsune Miku, and Vampire Survivors has the astronauts from Among Us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the latest DLC for Vampire Survivors is Among Us themed. It's called Emergency Meeting.
Emergency meeting. This is extra.
They announced a new DLC coming out, though, that's a collab with Contra.
Like the running and shooting.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
They should do a Helldivers DLC for Vampire Survivors.
I'm not surprised there's like more people haven't like gotten into like the Helldivers like DLC train, like, or like cross promotion train.
Yeah, how long until we start getting like other third-party IP content in Helldivers, you know?
I mean, shit. Fortnite's got everything now, so.
Right. When are we gonna get, like, you know, the Halo? I know, they would never do that because the game's also on PlayStation. Like the Warhammer Warbond, you know, give me a Warhammer Battle Pass for...
Yeah, I can agree. Vampire
Survivors stuff.
Vampire Survivors spawned a new genre of... I always think of it as like a... Vampire Survivors reminds me way too much of like bullet hells.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't do any shooting. Just the game automatically does it for you. But it did, the game itself did spawn like a brand new like genre, because then like everybody tried to jump on that train.
Oh.
Real fast. Another thing I like thinking about it, or like other genres, like it's interesting. Like I guess because like you talk about like genre being like a slippery slope, makes me think about like how fast genres begin to iterate now versus like back in the day. Like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where we're kind of at, like, our research stuff, where it's like, you think about, like, arcade games, like, when Space Invaders came out, there wasn't very many, like, there were Space Invaders-esque clones that went on to become their own thing, like Galaxia and Galaga. But, you know, you never saw anybody try and replicate, like, Donkey Kong.
Right.
Pac-Man never really... Granted, Pac-Man moved to various of the consoles, but you never really saw, like, another Pac-Man form.
Right.
Instead, it was just Mrs. Pac-Man, which was a hat. Buy any of these.
So according to the Wikipedia, for the list of roguelike games, Pettit 5 and D&D are actually considered part of the genre, despite predating Rogue.
Interesting.
Which seems funny to me. So Rogue was not the first roguelike.
But it's the one that everybody likes to point at.
Yeah.
How dare Rogue? High damage. Oh, this is another thing. This game has permanent upgrades. So like, now that I'm doing an all run, I don't have as much HP. Like, see how like I have 3 hearts versus like how I used to have, like I only have like 5 or 6.
This article mentions Don't Starve.
Say don't start.
Dungeon. Yeah, Don't Starve, Dungeon of the Endless.
Oh.
Darkest Dungeon says has some roguelike elements.
It's interesting that you say roguelike elements instead of just like elements, like, or like, so you think that makes me think of like it doesn't have the full functionality of like Rogue. I don't know if we were like, are there like games? I don't know if there's any like modern games nowadays that really do like what Rogue was doing when we were playing it, which is like all the items being mysterious and you have to like use them before you can find out what their function is. Like,
Yeah, I can't say I know other games doing that.
it's a neat concept. Like, I liked the idea of it, especially the randomness of some of those like scroll names.
Yeah, those were funny.
Yeah, yummers. Yeah.
Yummers.
Alright. Yep, I get back. Oh, that's boss. Good boss. The final boss in this game, the NecroDancer, you have to fight him while controlling 2 characters at the same time.
Interesting.
Dig anything, but take damage. I'll be alright. Yeah, I guess items would be like be something that like or like purchasing items. I guess they finally found a reason. They'll be like, oh hey, you know, we're collecting all this gold in Rogue. We should do something with it.
Yep. I guess it seems intuitive from a modern perspective that that's what gold would be for, but I guess back in the day that might just, you know...
I guess when you think about it, like, it was more like in arcades, it was just all about getting high scores. Sweet to have a heal. Oh yeah, you can cast spells in this game, but they're only useful if you can kill so many X number of enemies. Oh shit, that's true. And I'm dead because they fucking blew my ass up. Stupid dragon. Yeah, I've always been like it's Enter the Gungeon was like a great game for me just because like I enjoyed bullet hells so much growing up. So a game that gave me like random guns and also had a hilarious story seems like a perfect fit. I'll probably make 2 more runs and then I will stop if you want. Or is there anything you want to play or do? Show?
Not tonight.
Okay.
But tomorrow. I'm actually thinking I might play Noita.
Okay. Yeah. We can just do the same setup for I can get everything taken care of there, but then I can come in and watch you play.
Yeah. I gotta look more into Noita because I haven't played it yet, so maybe I'll just do it for the first time on the stream.
I mean, we saw how things went with we saw how things went with Rogue. Oh yeah, the little double arrow traps on the floor are they changed the tempo of the song temporarily. I think our I was talking to ups the VPNs. Our playthrough of Rogue is going to go up on the podcast or the AYCH YouTube channel.
Oh, cool! Very fun.
So we can watch you starve to death.
Watch me starve to death and get cursed by like 4 different items.
every piece of armor you picked up.
Bro, that's crazy. And the ring.
Oh yeah. Of course, nowadays, like I guess the rogue genres I play the most are like most of the card games. Like I play like Slay the Spire, and now I've been playing the Pilantro. It is hilarious to me that like what you call it, like how the genre can just like nowadays just like slap on like a coat of paint. I think I was talking about this like with the BlazBlue one that I have, where it's like Arxis just loaned them the character designs and they just built a roguelike around it.
Yeah, that seems like an interesting choice.
Oh yeah, you had 2 rings that were offsetting. You had one that was cursed and one that was not. Can I just not get dragons anymore, please? Finally. Master of the Dragons. At least it wasn't red. I'm also wondering, like, this is like a, I guess, like a stream of conscious, like, a thought here, where it's like thinking about like the amount of stuff games require you to like keep track of then versus now. Like, obviously in this game, like I was saying, like I have to remember, like I have to keep track of the beat. It helps you remember like what the enemy does, like their enemy patterns. As to where you think about like games like Donkey Kong, where it's like, I know this barrels have to do barrels, you know, are always going to fall this way. This one's going to do this thing, you know. I know on the third level I need to hit these like individual like things. But then like with like the manuals that we were finding in about like Pac-Man strategies. Like, do you think games are more complicated now versus like back then?
That's a good question.
Because obviously, like design purposes are going to change.
Right. I do think that games rapidly got more complex, especially on the PC side of things, like over the course of the 70s and then into the 80s. I mean, Rogue is definitely not as technically complex as many of the games that exist today. But, you know, I do think that you look at some of like the RPGs in the late 80s and the early 90s, like especially once you get into D&D RPGs. You know, those games are pretty damn complicated.
Like original Baldur's Gate or like Neverwinter Nights.
Yeah, Neverwinter Nights, Baldur's Gate, Planescape Torment. You know, any of the Dark Sun games. I think... It's hard to say. I think games today are probably still more complex than than older games, but I do think that older games exhibited a design philosophy that was very much trusted that players would invest the time to learn how to play the game and put up with the jank. I think these days you really have to streamline things and you have to make things immediately fun and accessible for people, otherwise they tend to get frustrated and not play the game. I think not until Dark Souls really did the game industry have a good sense of the fact that but players don't always like that. Like, sometimes you actually like the experience of having a game that doesn't hold your hand.
It's true. Older games,
right? Yeah, older games wouldn't teach you anything. Modern games love their yellow paint, like climbing, as Casey is saying.
Yep.
So I do think that there has been, at least I'm saying since Dark Souls, a resurgence in game design that is not interested in babying players.
Yeah.
But I think that's a risk, because I think, you know, if you're a small indie company and you make a game that's just jank for the sake of being jank and doesn't baby players, then you run the risk of alienating your only player base, which is tough. You know, I mean, like, Demon Souls did not do amazing. The original Dark Souls, you know, it was not a cult hit right away. Like, it had to kind of simmer for a little bit.
Right.
So,
I guess it's kind of like, I think about, it's kind of like in movies where I think about, there's like, you know, trusting that your viewers are intelligent. So it's like, you know, I think it's okay to teach your players things, but like, you know, overtly, like, if your game has like I'm trying to think about like a stupid long like tutorial mission, and then you just keep beating them over the head with that one thing. Like,
right? Yeah, I hate stupidly long tutorial missions. Let me play the game, you know. I don't like sitting through like 2 hours of cutscenes. before the game finally lets me actually start playing.
Yeah, it's like the Mega Man video he showed me. Trusting that your players are smart enough, or like inherently like making your design to the core concept of a game is much better than just like either spoon feeding it to them. And my brain always like goes back to Skyward Sword. And everybody really hated Feed. It's like, did you hate Feed because of her design, or did you hate Feed because she was constantly beating you over the head with like information you already? And I guess that's like something that people think about like with like Dark Souls. Like Dark Souls like doesn't really give you, it doesn't ever explicitly say things to you, but it teaches you through gameplay.
Right.
unless you know, beginning of Dark Souls 3, there's like actually some tutorial things.
Right. Yeah, and like in Dark Souls, you're never told to run past the Asylum Demon. You know, you're never told how to do a plunging attack. The game kind of just trusts that you're going to figure it out because you're in a situation where, you know, it's so seemingly difficult to progress that you kind of just have to try stuff.
Yeah. But like, you know, the original Mario Brothers never told anybody that, like, you know, go right, jump on stuff. You know,
Sure.
It was simple enough design that like you could figure it out.
Right. But then on the other hand, that's not to say that it's bad for a game to, you know, like Sekiro is a much more streamlined game that is not afraid to just tell the player how the game works. But so much of the joy of playing Sekiro comes down to the technical mastery of overcoming the challenges that the game throws at you, that are not reliant upon you problem solving them. It's just actually getting good enough to beat the bosses.
Are you just saying it's a get good mentality?
For Sekiro, very much it is.
Yeah.
Dark Souls and especially Elden Ring allowed for a little bit of a lateral thinking in terms of approaching its challenges. Like, you could really cheese bosses, especially in Elden Ring and Dark Souls 1 and 2, by going for some, you know, like nonsense magic build or over leveling or doing that kind of stuff. Which is, I'm not condemning that style of play. I think that's a legitimate way to play the game. If that's the kind of, you know, if you enjoy playing difficult RPGs because you like finding ways to break the game and fundamentally not engage with the challenge in the way that it looks like the game wants you to, that can be fun.
So it's the inherent
Sekiro,
challenge of Rogue to just work your way through the game and just hope that you can figure everything out, not die, and start patient.
yeah, and get lucky. You know,
Yeah.
that's like, you just have to get lucky. Sekiro has less of that because Sekiro, the only progression you really get is, you know, more health, more boards, a little bit more damage. But you do have the ninja tools, which if you are smart, or if you look it up online, you can find out how they help with particular bosses.
What the user wants to experience, like when you did your level 1 health.
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
Experience.
FromSoft has like a nice reputation of like trusting that their player base is not dumb.
Right, and because they've curated a large enough following, they can afford to do that, you know?
Well, I will say, like, out of all of them, Elden Ring is probably the most approachable.
Certainly.
Especially, like, with the summon system. You know, it's definitely more wide open. Other than that. there are enemies in this game that will deafen you, and then you can't hear the beat anymore.
Interesting.
Alright. This last one. I'm curious, like, now thinking about, like, with, like, you know, like, discussing, like, just, like, would you call Rogue, would you say Rogue is hard, or is it just, like, punishing?
No, Rogue is not hard. And not in the same way that I would say Dark Souls is hard.
Well, that's, like, because, like, I'm sitting here thinking about, like, a lot of, like, early game design was not, based, about being hard. It was sometimes it was hard for the sake of they're trying to make money.
Yeah.
Like,
No, Casey said what I was gonna say, which is that it's punishing, but it's not hard.
Gotcha.
The game has no problem making your life miserable sometimes as a result of being unlucky.
Right.
But that's exactly how Fear and Hunger is too. Like Fear and Hunger is not hard. Fear and Hunger is just ridiculously punishing.
Yeah, like, you know, it's like how we were talking about, like, when Space Invaders made $1.7 billion. It's like, that was $1.7 billion in quarters.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And you'd think, like, you know, games like Pac-Man never really had a true ending. The supposed ending was when the game ran out of memory.
Right.
You know, some of those games were meant to last forever. Then you think about, like, Rogue, and it's like, the game does have an ending. It is very difficult to get to said ending. Once you get to the bottom and find the amulet, you're supposed to get out of the dungeon.
Right.
It is interesting thinking about it, like we're talking about, like, you know, trusting that the user is, like, or the player is not dumb kind of thing. And thinking about, like, you know, Rogue doesn't really entrust you with much other than, hey, you picked up this thing. You should probably see what it does.
Yeah.
Or you don't. I still think of that what was it you found out the fake, the supervisor mode.
Yeah, that fucking is so funny to me.
Oh god, my boss is coming. Gotta make it like I'm doing something. Not on my 40th run of Rogue, trying to not die here. So hard to play this game. Some health. When am I doing an episode on game? I don't know. I know I want to do an episode on game and animation. So it'll probably be like, I would say, I don't know. When you say like godly original soundtrack, my brain automatically goes to like Chrono Trigger.
Metal Gear.
The original Metal Gear, like the NES one.
The franchise in general, like 2 and 3, I would say.
Oh, like Solid.
Yeah.
I made it to a boss, I think. Oh, I'm still before a boss. I have a spear now, so. I think music in game is a very important thing. It's like, I don't think it'll be a more interesting thing about like when people started making more conscious decisions on like when to start like creating like more soundtracks for games, like when that kind of thing. I think that'll be more like when we start talking about like when games were trying to be more dedicated with their stories. Now my brain is thinking about like the soundtrack to the original Doom. How good that was. Oh, it's Minotaur. Big Minotaur, too. Something I'm thinking about now is like in terms of oh, this is the Congo level. This is what I was talking about. So you can only move when the music plays. Just play Crypt of the NecroDancer Donkey Kong Trump Challenge. I'm sure there's somebody on speedrun.net that has done that.
Dad was always...
Well, I've made it to level 2, and I've only got 1 HP, so we'll see how far I make it. game is a little difficult at times. I like cheaper shops, but I also like this. This gigantic. I need HP. Come. Health. Oh, that's a red dragon. No. Suck. Woo! Of course. Yep. Alright, man. Fucking dragons, swear to God. Wait on Michael to get back, and then. So yeah, so I guess for folks just hanging out, our new episode's out, where we talked about the golden age of gaming. We're gonna be doing a little bit more streaming before this next episode. Our next episode will probably be next week. Where we'll be doing our 1-year anniversary show, where we're talking about all the stuff that we're playing right now. We'll be doing a little bit more, more in depth, because we'll be able to spend a little bit more time doing research into Rogue and all of the stuff that's spawned into it. And then we've got a couple of months planned out here and there. We're still kind of working out some kinks on some of our open episodes that we've got coming up too. So, but yeah, where'd you box? You gotta be boxes. The janitor, Kodak, boss master, dungeon master, beast master, weapon master. It's gotta be correct, right? No. How to get away with murder. Love it. I forgot about that. Any bosses? Yeah, I might wind up playing a little bit of Enter the Gungeon. Dust off that. It's been a while since I've played. I played that game. I did a lot in that game. I'm surprised there's not an actual it's gotta be in here, right? Oh, right, yeah. Yep. Oh, so it just lets me play through that. Gotcha. And it sounds like Michael will be wanting to play some stuff as well. I remember what the Noita, I think was the name of the game that he was talking about. So, but yeah, so let me pull this back up. I need to turn that off. That way I can just kind of chit chat. And I can do this real quick. Yeah, FTL's a lot of fun. I love FTL. I've played that game way too much. So that and its sequel game called It Through the Breach. That's a fun one. That might be interesting. That's more strategy based, but it could be worth watching. And we'll be doing like more episodes. We'll be doing more streaming stuff as like we're getting deeper into like and closer to like more games that are available. I'll probably wind up playing original Doom when we get ready to do our episode on id, which will be coming up. That's also the reason why I'm gonna like read Master System. So anyway, yeah, thanks for stopping by and tuning in. Be sure to keep an eye on it. You know, I guess we have some kind of like notification thing, so if we go live, if you're curious, we'll be there. I'm sure we'll be posting on social media as well. So yeah, thanks for swinging by, and we'll talk to y'all later.